Hey guys, it's Cobalt here, back with another one of my spontaneous uploads. Today I wanted to talk about the Wave 5 blind boxes again because I discovered something really interesting that I figured I should document on camera for you guys. So I already have a video up on my channel where I purchased a full case of them from Five Below and unboxed all of them with you guys on camera, and I was pretty pleasantly surprised with a lot of what I got. Today I was at Target and I discovered that they had their blind boxes in stock, so I figured that I would pick up a few to use as custom bases, not really expecting there to be a difference, because from what I understood with the blind boxes that I did already open, it seems like they got rid of the whole KX-ES thing, and it was really hard to tell like if the pets that I got were KX or ES. Today I'm here to tell you guys the truth of that matter by showing you that yes, KX and ES still exist, but now they are labeled differently, and there are some pretty drastic differences between these pets that I wanted to show you guys. So ignore the state of this blind box, but first I'm going to show you guys how to identify whether this is KX or ES. So this is one of the blind boxes that I purchased from Target. Also, with this new wave, the codes are just generally pretty hard to read. So instead of saying KX and ES, they will now say 01 for ES and 02 for KX. So for example, this Target one is 01. The ones that I bought from Five Below were 02, which I will now show you on the screen. So when looking at the codes, you do not pay attention to those last two numbers. Instead, you pay attention to the two numbers next to that. So in this one's case, this is number 74. But when you're looking at the codes, you can't just go based off of that number. You also have to pay attention to the first four numbers, which will tell you which batch this is. So for example, this would be number 74 of 01 ES of the batch number 2972. In the description, I will also put the codes that I found online that I use to get the blind boxes that I want out of this specific batch. So now let's get on to the differences. I did not purchase the full case because, like I said, I was not expecting any differences. Instead, I pick and chose the ones that I wanted the most, so I ended up picking up the Alligator, the Ferret, the new dog mold, the Panda, and the Bull. So I'm going to start off by showing you the Panda. I'm also going to be comparing the accessories because they are slightly different as well. So here are the two Pandas. This one over here is the one that I purchased from Five Below, which I believe to be KX, and the one over here is the ES one that I just purchased from Target. First off, the Target one's eye is a little bit slightly out of the mold off to this side. The other eye looks pretty good. And the reason why I thought that they had done away with the whole KX ES thing is because in the past, all of the KX pets had very flat painted eyes that did not have the graininess to them. But as you can kind of see, these ones' eyes are still grainy, even though I purchased them from Five Below. And in the past, Five Below has pretty much exclusively carried the KX variants. It's a bit hard to tell on camera, but their base paint is slightly different. It doesn't feel rough to the touch, but the application of the paint just seems a little rough. Like you can kind of see some speckling in it where this one is a lot more smooth. This one has darker brown eyes than this one does. And even the blue, like teal color that they have is different. This one is more blue where this one is more green. It's mostly only seen on the ears and the arms and legs. The paint around their eyes is pretty much the same, and then the pink details on this one are slightly darker than on this one. This one also appears to be a little bit taller than my new one over here, but that could just be the one that I've gotten. And the last thing that I am noticing is that the pink in this one's ears is smaller than this one here. I went ahead and checked the bottom of the feet. They do both say 2025, although the font is a little bit different. On here, 2025 and Hasbro are bigger than on this side, but I do understand that it's pretty hard to see on camera. Maybe you can kind of tell there. And then on this foot, it says China, and then this one has a serial code, and then the serial code for the new one is printed on the bottom of its head. Here is the back side, so you can see that comparison as well. The LPS logo is just placed differently, but again, that could completely be a factory thing. So now I'm going to show you the accessory that came with this Panda because I noticed that that was slightly different as well. So here are both the accessories. This is another thing that tipped me off to the KX and ES difference. This accessory here, this accessory here is fully painted. I have no idea what the color of the plastic underneath is, but the yellow and the pink that you can see here is painted on, whereas this one, the pink is still painted. It is a smoother looking paint, and then the yellow is the actual color of the plastic. But aside from that, the molds of these two flowers does pretty much look the same, but I thought that that was interesting. Okay, moving on to the dog mold, because I figured that this one would be very interesting considering that this is the brand new mold. Right off the bat, I will say neither of the two that I've gotten so far look very good paint job wise. This one, the newest one that I got, that's ES, has a lot of paint spillage on the body, and then this one has eyes that are printed a little bit too low and also has that black scuff on its mouth that I assume is from the paint from the nose. So already the ES one looks a lot larger, like her head is way bigger, and you can even see like the bauble is a lot higher up. You can actually see into her neck peg there, where you can kind of see it here, but it's not as noticeable when they're just standing side by side. This one is also also a little bit darker. It's more noticeable when you compare the two bodies, but the head is slightly darker as well. The fur detailing on her body, especially on this arm right here, feel a lot more defined, and that is also a big difference between KX and ES, is that the ES molds just have a lot more detail and depth in their mold. I'm not exactly sure why that is, but it's just something that I've noticed. And then flipping it around to the back, you can kind of see the difference in color a little bit more, although it is a lot more noticeable in real life than it is here on camera. Now that I've flipped them around, I am noticing something else that you can't really quite see yet. So on the KX one here from Five Below, you can see there is a seam line that follows the back of the arm and goes onto the back, connecting to the other leg here. Whereas on this one, the seam line actually goes down the back towards the tail and is connected to this back leg. It does not have the seam line here. Seam line, no seam line. Although the seam line does go in front of the arm. So that is really, really strange. The LPS logo, again, this one is a little bit darker of a paint than this one here. And then here is the other side. So they should both say 2025 because they are new molds. So yes, 2025 there. And this one actually says 2025 on its stomach. So 2025 Hasbro there. Then the word China is printed on the top foot, whereas we have 2025 Hasbro printed on this foot and China is printed on this foot. You can also see the holes are in the same paw, but they just look a little bit different. So I think that that is really, really interesting how even the new mold is like technically a different mold based on what you get. And maybe it's just because I unboxed her first, but I think I actually prefer the KX pet in this instance. What I will say is I like the fact that this one's eyes on the bottom are like a full smooth swoop, where this one seems a little bit more like rigid, like it's kind of a harsh line instead of a smooth curve. So I do like that better about the new one, but I feel like I just kind of like this one a little bit more. And then as for graininess in the eyes, they are both slightly grainy. So aside from comparing them both side by side, there's really nothing about this one that tips me off to it being KX. But I still would like to find a new version of this dog that looks a little bit better printing wise. So here are their accessories as well. The Panda was the only one that I noticed a huge difference in right off the bat, but I figured I would compare everybody's accessories. So here they are. This one just has like darker paint. The plastic seems the same. This one actually does not have fully painted plastic. This teal color is the color of the plastic, but the dark blue details that are painted on are darker than this one over here. Same with the chain, like the application of that silver paint is a little bit darker. Here's the full turnaround. Oh, okay. So the ES one actually has less detail, which is really interesting. So it's not even painted on the back there. That very well could be a misprint on the one that I've got, but for all I know, they are all like that. So that's really interesting. The feel of the plastic also pretty much feels the same. So now moving on to the next pet is the Ferret. This is the one where right off the bat, I can say that the new one is infinitely better, mainly because the KX one that I got, her eye here is a little bit misprinted. And I said in the video that her eyes just seemed very flat to me, especially this misprinted one over here. But this one, her eyes are much rounder. They're a lot cuter. The eye color is also slightly different. This one is more of a true brown or even kind of like a yellowish brown, where this one is more of a reddish brown, which actually I prefer. The noses are also way different. She has a really round nose where hers is more of a cute little triangle. Mold-wise, I would say that their noses are the same, but it's just the way that the paint is applied. The colors are also a little bit different with the base plastic, which again, I don't really think you can see on camera. They're both still a warm gray, but this one is slightly darker and a little bit more to the gray side, where this one is lighter and a little bit more on the yellow side, actually. Since I've been comparing the bottoms of all of them, I'll just do that again with these two. They both say 2025 Hasbro on the bottom of their stomach, where this one is printed horizontally and this one is printed vertically, and it also says China at the bottom, although it is very difficult to see on camera. I completely understand that. So while the other two pets that I showed earlier, there's things that I liked about both of them. For this one, the ES one is definitely the way to go in my opinion. All right, now let's compare the accessories. So here's the new ES one from Target, and here's the KX one from Five Below. They seem pretty similar. This one might be ever so slightly darker than this one, but they are both made from a teal plastic opposed to being painted. Of course, the silver detailing is painted on them. I'm going to quickly put it on the ferrets to see if like putting it on the pet feels any different. Okay, so with them both wearing it, it fits pretty much the same on both pet and looks pretty similar as well. What I will say about this one here, the plastic is much rougher and honestly a little bit less malleable. This one's a smoother plastic that's nicer to feel and it's easier to bend to actually put it on the pet. So now let's talk about the bulls. Aside from the last pet that I'm going to be showing you, this one was the one that instantly seemed the most different to me, although I still need to find a new ES one because I'm not fully happy with the way that that one looks either. This one also has pretty drastically different accessories as well. So of course, here is the KX one that I purchased from Five Below and the new ES one that I purchased purchased from Target. This one unfortunately has a pretty big printing issue with its eyes. They seem to be a little bit smudged and almost blurry in a way, and there is some weird paint spillage on the sides of where the nose bridge would be. So I can definitely like see the vision and tell that this one is better looking, but I just got a really bad one. So don't let that reflect all of the ES bulls. I will die on the hill that ES pets are better than KX pets. So take a look at this photo that I'm putting on screen from Huntress LPS that shows a better comparison of two that look pretty good. And this is also a better representation of what I meant when I was talking about the differences between the KX and ES eyes in the beginning of the video. These ones are just flatter, they're stamped on, and they don't have the little graininess that you get from the ones that are printed on, like this one here. So the most drastic thing about the eyes, in my opinion, aside from the color being slightly different, is the way that the eyelashes are printed on. These ones' eyelashes are kind of translucent, so you can see the black underneath, and I feel like this one you have less of the problem there. Obviously, the pet still does have black eyelashes, but I just feel like these ones could be more opaque like this one's are. Again, the metallicness is a similar quality to when I compared the pandas. For this one, it's pretty much the same color. It's just the new one seems a lot more shiny. Not necessarily glossy, but it just has more of a metallic sheen than this one does. The metallic printing on their bodies is pretty dull on both compared to the hair, and that one seems pretty much the same. They both have all of their hooves fully painted, and they have the metallic tail as well. You can see again, the seam lines on the bodies are different. So this one has no seam line going through the body, and this one does. The new one that I just got from Target does not have a date on it, whereas this one does say 2024 because this was the new remade KX mold, whereas this is the reused mold from the original bull. So if the original molds are more important to you, that is definitely something to consider when choosing whether to purchase between Five Below and Target. And I'll even show the top of the head as well, just because the way that their horns are painted is a little bit different. I guess not necessarily more clean, but it does go all the way up to the edge of the horns, where this one does not quite meet that point. So yeah, biggest difference between these two is definitely the eyes. Let me show you the accessories. So here is the new accessory, and here is the old accessory. Love this accessory because I'm super glad that we're getting the collars back. I'm actually going to put these on the pets so you can see them a little better. And there they are. Again, with the new one, it's a more bendy plastic that's easier to put on the pet. This one here is fully painted. I could not tell you what the color of the plastic underneath is because the green and the pink are both painted on, whereas this collar over here is green plastic with the pink flower printed on. Obviously though, the edges of the flower are not painted, whereas this one are. So I think I gotta give the better accessory award to the KX one from Five Below over here, although this one does have more detail in the sculpt of the collar, like these lines here, which I didn't really notice on this bull. Of course, they are still there, but because it's painted on, you kind of lose those details. But I think that I like having the flower more fully painted, whereas this one does not have that. Obviously though, I'm gonna be looking for more bulls because she ain't it. I need a better looking one. And the final pet comparison for today's video is the alligator. So I actually ended up buying 3 of these so I can show you comparison between all 3 at the end, so you can watch out for misprints and things like that. But this again is the KX one from Five Below, and this is the ES one from Target. When I noticed that the Target blind boxes were ES, that was another big reason why I decided to buy 3 of them, because I love the design of this pet so much, but I was really unhappy with the way that this one came out, especially with the printing of the eyes. You can just see like how awfully printed they are. Everything is out of placement, there's paint missing, and it does not fill the shape of the eye mold whatsoever. That's another thing. This one has a serious problem with standing up, where this one does not. Obviously, you know, the alligator is standing on 3 legs, so it's gonna fall over from time to time, but this one just seems very unbalanced. Anyways, back to the eyes. This one has amazing eyes. This one's eyes are more red, where this one's are a little bit more orange. Of course, still types of brown, but I just think that this one looks infinitely better, and her eyes are printed on so well. All of the teeth are painted on both of them. Honestly, with both of them, I think that the airbrushing looks pretty good. This one, of course, is slightly more speckled here at the top, but I actually like that better because then you get to see more of the teal coming down onto its face. You can also see the teal spots there. The ones with the KX version are not covered up by the airbrushing at all, where the airbrushing on this one kind of covers up the larger spot, which honestly I really like. I kind of think that's cool and adds some interesting texture that doesn't really feel like an error. The green color is lighter and slightly more yellow on the new ES version. Again, I will do the spin around. If you guys haven't seen any of my videos talking about the G7 alligators, unfortunately their bodies are significantly smaller than the original G2 alligators, where their heads are still pretty much the same size. So I think that's another reason why this guy over here seems so imbalanced, because his body is just a little bit too small. But yeah, I really love this one. So before I show you all 3 of the ones that I got but I'm going to do the accessories comparison. So this one comes with some cool glasses. Here's the new one, and here is the old one. So these are the accessories that seem the most similar to me. I'm honestly not noticing anything that's different about them. This color might be ever so slightly darker, but I think they're pretty much the same. I am going to put them on though, because I had a lot of trouble getting the glasses on the Five Below one. Like, they kind of just flew off, so we'll see if that happens. Yeah, it does not stay on. Let's see if the new one stays on. No, it does not. I think it's just because the alligator's head is so large, and the way that this part of the glass is like kind of curves in on itself, it's definitely something that will fit pretty easily on a lot of pets, but if you gotta stretch it to fit it on a pet whose head is too big, it's probably gonna fly off, which is unfortunate because it's meant to go with this alligator, but I digress. So like I said, I think this is the best one of the three that I got, but this one looks pretty good as well. The only reason why I opted to go with this one over this one is just because I thought the mouth printing was cleaner, and this one has a little bit of a scuff on the front of its mouth, but you can't really see. These ones are both very good, so maybe I'll change my mind later. This one is not as good though, just because it has a little spot on its forehead here, which also you can't really see on camera, and then it has some whites right there. But here's all my little alligator buddies. What I can say is all of their eyes look phenomenal, so any of these would have been infinitely better than whatever is going on with this one. Also, side tangent before I end the video, when I was looking for the accessories for my old pets, I found this collar that Akari made and I put it on this dog, and it is so cute. Shout out Akari. Anyways, time to end the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you all found this interesting and informative. Again, so far with the pets that I've unboxed, I got my KX ones from Five Below and my new ES ones from Target. I can't give you a definitive answer on which is better because honestly, that is completely up to you. Although what I will say is in general, I think that ES is higher quality, and since it's at Target, it is cheaper than Five Below because Target sells for around $3.99 or like $4 something, and Five Below is obviously $5. So who knows? This Target also had 3 mostly full cases of these pets, and it appeared that all of them were ES. I haven't checked out Walmart, so I don't know what they're carrying, and I don't know if Target is going to be carrying a mix like they've done before, because I was mainly there to pick up an old Wave 4 pet, and obviously with their blind boxes, they had KX and ES. But since I only picked up 5 of these pets, let me know if you would like to see a part 2 to this video, and specifically let me know which LPS you would like me to do the comparison with, and I can keep my eyes open for those. And again, the codes for this specific batch of blind boxes will also be found down below in the description. So hopefully that is helpful for you guys. But that is it for the video. So I will see you guys all in my next one. Bye!